What is going on, YouTube? We are here to recap the midway point of the XFL season, week 5. Still feeling a little under the weather. Had a bit of a stomach bug for the past week or so. On the mend though. So it was nice to have some XFL to keep me company, keep interested in. Pretty good slate of games this weekend. We'll get into all of it. As always, be sure to like and subscribe, comment down below what you thought of this week's games. And since it's halfway, just what you thought of the season so far. Any predictions going forward, anything like that. We'll take a relook at the standings as well. We'll do all that today. Be sure to, if you would like to sponsor me, my email is in the description of this video. If you'd like to do that, you can reach out there. My professional email. Yeah, let's get into it. Give me one. So we'll go in order as always with these games. Stop share. Not sure why that happened that way. All right, here we go. So this was the biggest upset. This was the game I did pick this upset. I'm pretty proud of myself for that on Thursday. To be fair, I almost never pick against my Dragons, but Seattle was able to beat Houston 21-14, and it shouldn't have been that close. You can see Houston scored in the fourth. Yeah, you can see the score in the fourth with not much time left. Yeah, not super even as close as 21-6. How this happened, I'm still trying to figure out. I thought it was gonna be that Seattle had to play a really clean game. Trying to see the total turnovers. Yeah, Seattle had 4 turnovers to Houston's 2. One was in the last minute. So they didn't turn them over very much. But they were able to. I think there's a lot of reasons they were to win this game. I think they forced them to throwing the ball early. I think getting some sacks. I think their defense played incredible. You could see Houston's that amazing offense. 6.2 to 4.3 yards per pass. Rushing yards, you could see only 4 yards a rush too. They've been a good rushing team as well. You can see they threw the ball a ton this game too, which I think speaks to Seattle's ability to play out in front. They're very physical. They're a very team that likes to be out in front. They like to play by the lead. You can see first 2 touchdowns in the game are Seattle, and they had scored. Then no one scored till the fourth. But yeah, I think this kind of went how I thought. I thought Silvers again was fine, but I think just isn't incredible. The offense. Danucci did not have a great game either, which is also not how I expect this game to go. That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to piece this one together. But Seattle gets it done. It was a must win pretty much for them. Big win to move to 3-2. Houston's fine at 4-1. Probably not a bad thing for them to lose a little bit early just to kind of reset and, realize make some adjustments. But huge win for Seattle. Biggest upset of the year. And I called it. Not a great week for me picks wise, but we'll take what we can. DC St. Louis. This game was interesting. I didn't have a chance to watch all this live. I thought St. Louis would be better at home, and I think the story was Abram Smith. He had that huge 70-yard run. I thought he had a longer run too. Maybe it was just a 70. But I mean, Abram Smith was the star of the day, number 1 pick in the XFL draft this year, or first pick in the XFL draft. 23 carries, 218 yards, 3 TDs. I don't think I don't know if I've ever seen a team with 200 rushing yards in a game. So maybe that's wrong, but you can see him throw the ball much. Derek King only 2 carries, 1 throw. Talman only 18 throws, but I mean, you've got Talman with 23 rushing yards, so a good balanced rushing attack again. But Abram Smith, one of the best performances of the XFL season. See, they got 5 sacks, a forced fumble, a fumble recovery, and INT. Another great game for this DC defense. St. Louis had a good crowd, 35,000, I think I heard. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think it was about 35,000. So a little less than week one, but that's to be expected. McCarron, not a terrible game, just sacked 5 times, turnovers. Couple turnovers, I think we'll do it. Akeem Butler again has been great. I think he should probably be on NFL roster from what I've seen. Yeah, McCarron with a fumble and an INT, not super characteristic. I think this DC defenders defense is just good. They play hard. Greg Williams leading them. Really good pedigree. DC goes to 5-0. Really putting themselves clinching the tiebreaker over St. Louis. I'm not exactly sure how tiebreakers will work, but that'll clinch it for sure, being them head to head both times. It gives them a nice little cushion division as well. Probably doesn't clinch them a playoff spot, but certainly helps get them closer. St. Louis falls 3-2, so they have the tiebreaker over Seattle. So that next game will be interesting, and that gives Seattle a breath of life. Orlando Guardians and Vegas Vipers. I didn't realize San Antonio changed the offensive coordinator for this game, but yeah, Vegas finally gets their first win. Orlando fortunately goes 0-5. We'll go to the Vipers first. We'll give them their due. Congrats to Rod Woodson on his first win. Luis Perez, clean game, 20-28, 3 TDs, 269 yards. Rod Smith of Ohio State, I believe, 18 carries, 2 TDs. Jeff Badette, 2 TDs, usual suspects. John Love with a fumble. Defensively, 4 sacks, an INT or forced fumble. Pretty solid defensive game. Yeah, solid win by the Vipers. Guardians played hard though. They came back. That's one thing I've liked about them the past few weeks. They've competed a lot more after those first couple weeks or first 3 weeks, maybe a couple now. It must be first couple weeks. They played pretty just lousy, and they're still not good enough. I think their roster construction is a joke. How one team is this worse than everyone else is bad. But Quentin Dormady, who was kicked out of the league basically by his own team, got reinstated. Had a pretty good game coming in for Paxton Lynch. Well, not a huge Paxton Lynch guy. I think she's probably should be out of the league at this point. He's proven he can't play, but Quentin Dormady played a pretty good game coming in. No other real notes. Cody Latimer had a really good game. Charleston Rambo, also a phenomenal football name. Charleston Rambo. 2 pretty big games. But so Vipers get their first win. Congrats to them. Congrats to Rob Woodson. Orlando falls to 0-5. Just a bad roster, man. It's not like they're not playing hard. Vegas, they covered the spread, which I was wrong about. And I picked the Guardians not to cover, and every time I did that, I was wrong. But props to Guardians, props to Orlando. And then Arlington, San Antonio. This one's a game that I was a little confused on. Slaughter has not been great. Way more turnovers than I'd like still. I don't quite get why it's maybe it just isn't that good. But they got the win 12-10. Had a rushing touchdown. I believe a couple field goals as well is how they scored their points, or at least one field goal. Let's see. Yeah, 2 field goals. Yeah, 1 touchdown, 2 field goals. So not a high offensive game. San Antonio with a new offensive coordinator, which I don't think I realized. So they started Reed Sinnett. Did not have a great game either. I'm not exactly sure what's wrong with their offense. I think just the talent in that room isn't great enough. Jack Cohen struggled. And then not the best game, no rushing attack either. 14 carries for 54 yards. With this quarterback room, you need to be able to run the ball. No receive outside talent. Just not a really great offense. Their defense is solid, and it's hard to judge them this game because I think a lot of us would agree that Kyle Sloter and the Renegades aren't the best offense to judge, but the Arlington defense has done a good job. Keep on winning when they have to, beating the teams they should beat. So I think it's important. It matters to beat. You have to beat the teams. Their 3 wins are against the 3 bottom teams in the league, but you got to beat those teams. So they go to 3-2, keeping and 1 and so they move up on getting a game in San Antonio, which is huge for them for the playoffs. And San Antonio go to 1-4. Doesn't bury them in the playoffs, but doesn't really help them a ton. But we'll see. So yeah, we'll go to just this week picks and predictions, how we did. It was a mixed bag. The first best bet of the year that was wrong. Um, Pick Vegas to cover was dumb, but not dumb, I guess. But pick three of the four game winners correctly, including two upsets. Um, and pick two upset covers to cover, and they did. So I feel good about those bets. And St. Louis, I just had a little more faith in at least covering. I had a little more faith in them. I think DC's kind of waiting to break, but I guess not. Um, you live and you learn. Um, through 5 weeks of the season, you can see my game prediction. I'm picking 90% of the winners correct. In terms of my bets, I'm picking 65% of those. My best bet, I'm picking back correctly 80% of the time. So my first year really tracking this stuff and doing pretty well, better than I thought I would. Um, it comes from just all the time I spent these years off, studying film, looking at spreads, really analyzing the talent in this league. And I'm glad to see my hard work paying off. Quick look at the standings at the midway point. This is the point made to in the 2020 season before COVID unfortunately caused the season to close. See this North Division. It's going to be a really interesting race for that 2 spot. Yeah, DC I think is probably all but locked at the 1 spot. St. Louis and Seattle both at 3 and 2. Seattle winning 3 straight, so they're catching all the momentum. Vipers at 1 and 4, finally in the win. This XFL South, it stinks that they have to pick 2 teams from each division because it's not going to. I feel like Arlington's clearly just not the 4th best team. I think the 4 best teams are the 3 top teams in North Division. So DC and I think DC is number 1. I put Houston number 2, 3/4 St. Louis and Seattle. However you want to order those teams, I'd probably put St. Louis ahead of them, but St. Louis and Seattle, and then Arlington. And Arlington's probably one of those. St. Louis or Seattle isn't going to get a playoff spot, which is crazy. Not fair to those fans. Not fair to any of them. But it's what it is. It's football. It's life. So yeah, Guardians own 5. No huge surprises. I figured this would be a close battle for the 2-3. I figured Arlington would be the 2 seed. So no huge surprises here. To be honest, in terms of the standings, I think this 2-3 battle is going to be really fun at the end. I think whenever they play, I forget when St. Louis and Seattle play again, but that'll be a really fun game and really important game for the season. And yeah, that's all I got for this one, guys. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe and all that fun stuff.